Hey everyone, I'm Mark,
And I'm Alex.
and this is Final Stop for Final Fantasy Talks. Well, hello everyone, welcome to our Blitzball Part 7 episode. We're excited to continue just diving into Blitzball, man. I mean, gosh, 7 episodes. That's actually been a lot of Blitzball we've talked about.
Yeah, we've gone over a whole bunch of players at this point, several of the different status effects in the game. I mean, we talked about a lot, right? We've gone over formations, we've gone over just all kinds of techniques and tactics.
Yeah. Well, and also think we've been talking about Blitzball along the way in our regular series, and so that's insane. But all right, something we've been doing at the beginning of the last few episodes are where we're doing this all-star team, right? Levels 1 through 30. I want a team that's going to kick butt, just get through Blitzball as fast as possible these early games. Here we go so far. All right, so my team so far was Wedge and Zaltz, or Zolitz. I still don't know. And Alex, you had Shami and Rop. So, what are you going with for your
Uh,
third pick?
I think at this point, I'm going to go for my goalie
Okay,
and decided to go with Miyu,
me,
who
you.
I usually kind of later in the game. You have to get all the way to the north side of the moon
Yeah,
flow,
it's pretty
pretty
much our
much.
limit. That's as far as you're able to take
Yep.
characters. You can't even take Quado.
Yep. But I figured I'd change it up. I do go for Jamal sometimes as well, but Miyu, pretty darn good. I mean, you look at her stats. We talk a lot about how players, their progression changes,
Right.
usually up to level 50 and then 50 and beyond. But Miyu is kind of like the inverse of a lot of the Kilika beasts who are really good later on, later levels. She's really good at the beginning. Like she comes in with 11 catch at level 1, 13 at 5. It just increases by 3 pretty much all the way, to the point where level 30 she's got 25 catch.
Level 30, Nimruk. Nimruk's at 26. So, dude,
Nimrod.
she is
Wow,
right there. So, in that moment, she is, woo, almost caught him.
that's crazy. Man.
Yeah, I mean she's catching Jamal by like level 5 through 10, right? So I mean she
Yeah.
gets him real quick.
One other thing to throw out too that is kind of a bummer compared to Jamal is she actually doesn't start off with super goalie either. She does have anti-drain, anti-nap, venom, wither, all of that kind of stuff to start,
Right.
but super goalie's a key technique and she's about 200 gil a game. So, yeah, they're really good from the beginning, but you see how like, on my team where I got Rop on there, Jammy, so it all kind of adds up
It does.
after a while.
Yeah. It definitely does. I mean, keep in mind like the really nice weapons in Mushroom Rock were like 9 grand, right? Well, your whole team,
Yeah.
if it adds up to 1,000, you can play 9 games. I mean, that's not that much in the long run. And so, no, that's pretty
Hmm.
interesting. Well, man, I decided I want to go for a center this time, and I was looking at him. Grav, man, he's the best. He is just, if you want a traditional center, which
Interesting.
I didn't used to play that way. We've kind of discussed that in the playthrough, or, maybe actually it was last few episodes of the Blitzball. Talked about the other saves and stuff like that, but now in recent games, I've definitely just been playing the roles as they should in centers, and dude, he's a beast, man. He just really is. There's only one player that is kind of better overall in the stats I'm looking at, because starting out, he starts at level 3. That helps. But he's got 9 endurance, 8 attack, 13 pass, 8 block, 8 shoot. He's just so well rounded. I mean, you could place him just
Yeah.
about anywhere. I mean, honestly, that's like Dado status with a forward if you really wanted, and attack and block. 8 and 8, that's Barrick is the only one better.
Yeah, that's interesting. I would have never thought of Grav. But I will say, every time, especially early on when you play the Luka goers,
Yeah,
and he is a legitimate threat to score a goal at any
he
time. Like
is.
seriously, he is
Well,
actually his shoot, like you said, it's 8, which is surprisingly good. I mean, you're not expecting the center to have that good a
no, I
shoot.
mean by and everything grows well. That's the other great thing about some of these Luka goers. They are pretty good in the beginning. They trail off. He's crap in the end, but at level 20, he's got 17 shoot. I mean that's a center. That's kind of crazy. And this is also with like almost every stat is mid to high teens or even up to mid 20s. I mean he's got tons of pass. his block and attack grow well enough for a center. I mean, keep in mind, these centers, we're going to be talking about one today. They get in the most battles they call them. They get in the most encounters, right? They're engaging the most often, so you would want
Yep.
kind of decently high attack and block because it's just going to always help when you're, getting matched with some of your other teammates.
And comes with elite defense, doesn't he? And all of those types
Yes.
of
Venom
baller.
tackle, elite defense, so he does at least come with something, and that's real helpful. So I mean, yeah, put additional 3 on tackle. It's going to be a 11 attack. That's huge. I mean, that's another defender sitting in there.
Yeah, it's insane, man.
And he can
That
get,
is a good
it is scary because, even in the game, like, the forced game, it's not uncommon for Grav to score on Keepa. I mean, he can. He's got
Yeah.
8 versus 5.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. He does. He has before, man, if I get lazy. Because I mean, that's the other thing too. The AI with him, it's pretty strong where it like goes for the goal quite a bit. They know that, it's he's got high shoot.
Yep, exactly.
That's a good center.
All right, well, we're going to continue building these teams. It's kind of a fun thing doing, man. I'm enjoying this. We're also going to continue the conversation with techniques. So we already talked about Venom. We talked about Nap. There's only one more major category, and that's Wither. We'll talk about what it does first, right? Because it actually does kind of depend a little bit. But you got your shots, passes, and tackles. It's just the same kind of percentage based on, the tier and all that. Same as the other ones. But if it hits a goalie, it has the chance to have block and or catch.
Does that work also? I'm wondering if that works like defenders. If it hits if they try to block it, would that half their block? I wonder.
Yeah, I think that's what it targets. Yeah, so if you're Titus, you use Wither Shot, a defender gets a hand on it, block can be halved. And so that's, so boom, useful there for taking out kind of defenders, which some of them, like the Guado, they have ridiculous amounts of block, right? So you need that to get halved sometimes.
Exactly. I mean, it's kind of interesting. I'm seeing how these tie into the strategies behind what you'd be trying to do as well, right? So like with pass, it has endurance, attack, and block. So block, that makes a lot of sense because if you've got, somebody with a higher block, they have a greater chance, of course, of trying to defend it and then getting afflicted with that. So it's kind of interesting. You think like it's useful for trying to handicap some defenders as well. Like if you get into an encounter and throw like Wither Pass or Wither Pass 2 or something like that, you can half their attack as well. And endurance is in there.
Maybe you're not able to be able to pass it long, right? Because this dude's just harassing you, or these couple are just harassing you, you're not able to make long passes. And so sometimes you can at least make a short pass to just someone close and with Wither and just, man, if it does get block or something, boom, instantly get the ball back in the other player's hands if you're able. I mean, you got to be smart about these things. But then at that point, now their block is, it's halved, right? So that's a large amount sometimes, and that might be able to free you up to make that long pass that you need to take.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, sometimes like what you were saying there, you get into situations where you have no hope of breaking all the defenders and you have no hope of actually completing a pass through of them. So at that point, it's like, all right, well, I'm just going to throw a Wither Pass 2 and hope that I can at least sort of like handicap some of these defenders, So it's like what you said, even if it is going to get fully blocked, maybe the first defender misses it and he gets afflicted and then it gets blocked after that or...
Exactly. Well, yeah, you never know. I mean, just go for it. I'm taking you out with me is kind of my mentality, right?
Yeah.
And same thing with tackles, right? The tackles is probably my most common one I'll do for Wither just because sometimes you can't stop some of these players, right? And so having endurance, having pass, having shoot, because a tackle is the only one that does that, that's huge. I mean, because we'll give some scenarios here in a moment, but these are really, really important things. I like it the most. Honestly, out of all the techniques, Wither, pretty much everything I'll use, it's not uncommon that someone will have a Wither Pass, a Wither Tackle, and a Wither Shot. And that's it. And everyone just has Wither because, I don't know, it hits more often. Probably, well, it feels like that because I'm using it all the time. But I just feel kind of the stat handicaps, as you kind of briefly touched on, way more beneficial than just putting a player to sleep or just poisoning a player and preventing them from using a particularly shot that they usually probably don't even use anyway. Sometimes tech copy, we know the frustrations. I won't even go there.
I know what you mean. It's As again, like, it's that thing of I like the nap status. I think sleep is super useful again if it works, but that's the kicker is that it either has to be a pass or it has to be a tackle you know for sure is going to steal the ball because if it doesn't, it's not going to do anything,
Yeah.
right? Other than just the regular attack. So with her, I mean, yeah, it's like what you said. I love to put it on my forwards as well because they have super low attack, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And you just sit there and like they can still debilitate them where it like halves their block, halves their
Yeah.
endurance or something like that. And
It's
I mean
perfect with the Ronso at the beginning because their endurance is nuts. It's like usually 20 plus, and you're sitting here with 3 attack, and Wither, even a Wither, will bring you up to 6. So yeah, yes, Titus tackles hard. All of a sudden, boom,
yeah.
Withered, it drops to like 10, and you're like, oh, it makes a big
hmm
difference. And same with kind of shot. Like you can even handicap the forwards before they even can get there with a chance to reduce shoot. So I mean, it's really helpful in the forwards.
Exactly. And you have two techniques. You can either do the pass or you can do the tackle for endurance. So again, that's one of those ones that's easy. At least it gives you a couple of opportunities to half their stat there. I mean, yeah, it's just this question of like honestly, man, unless you have no other choice, right? Like unless you don't have wither tackle, you don't have
Sure.
wither pass, why would you want poison over that? I mean, again, like you said, okay, you have that thing where you can't do certain shoot techniques,
Right.
but I've never drained their health all the way, even when they did get poisoned. So I don't really get why you would choose that over wither. But
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I guess it's to maybe if you just want to spread it all out kind of a deal, I guess. I mean, because
yeah,
we'll get
maybe.
into maybe some other things I might support being able to just, okay, well, I got some wither. Now maybe I'll try to wither them once, maybe get poison on them. I guess that, but as far as usefulness, honestly, to drive your point home, yeah, I've never done that because wither is just, I don't know. I'm usually not having that very long rallies either. Usually I'm getting the ball and I'm scoring.
Yeah,
I mean, that's usually what happens.
exactly. Exactly. And that's the thing. And that's immediate versus poison, where it's kind of like it's a war of attrition kind of thing.
Yeah,
But like you
true.
said, every time you score, it goes away. It could be really useful early when they have like 90 HP or 100 HP or something. But to me, it kind of just quickly becomes irrelevant.
Yeah. Well, and we have some different techniques that go with it. The anti-wither, of course. Out of all the antis, I guess maybe this would be the one I would, because again, I don't want my players' stats getting halved. What's just happened often. I don't usually just use antis because it's like it's so situational. I mean, again, they may or may not ever use their wither tackle or passes. And so it's just, meanwhile, I'd rather have a slot that benefits me more often than not, right? So that's just my beef with antis. But an interesting one here is Pile Wither. So similar to Pile Venom, it applies cumulatively 5 times. So I guess this means that like it would apply endurance, you would have endurance, pass, and shoot all at once because Wither does stack, right? So you might tackle, might do it endurance, another encounter again, you might do another wither, and then all of a sudden it hits pass also. So the dude will be walking around with all of his stats half. So we know it stacks.
I'm not even sure, to be honest with you. I mean, I've never used Pile Wither,
I
so
haven't either.
that's an interesting.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
just need to
again,
do it once and
super
applies.
situational.
And now this
Yeah.
kind of also goes and makes me think more about Pile Venom. We kind of briefly touched that and we gave the definition, same thing, and we're like, oh, but this makes sense. We learned that, the more poison stacks you have, the less type of abilities you can use. Like first you lose shoot, ability to use shoot techniques, then
Mm.
passes, so on and so forth. So that makes more sense with Pile Venom, right? If it plays, well, boom, you can't use ability, any techniques, at all. Now that'd be terrible. So I guess Wither right here, boom, you get tackled. Boom, all your stats just got dropped, dude. Maybe I need to test this. We need to test this.
Yeah, that's something I'll have to look up as well. So honestly, I don't know.
All right, well, yeah. If anyone else has any idea, let us know. All right, well, one other one I want to talk about, man, Golden Arm. What do you think? So really, all it does is like
Oh man.
shots and passes. They drain as they travel, right? Apparently, it's at a rate of 20%. Didn't know that, but because it seems to be sporadic sometimes. But regardless,
Yeah.
it's reduced to 10%, down from 20%, so it's reduced in half.
I like Golden Arm. I have used it before. It's can be kind of redundant,
Sure.
if you're just scoring goals, no problem. Anyways, there's that there's that kind of issue. But I've seen some hilarious stuff late game, or when they're really, I think around level 50 or so, and
Okay.
they've got really good pass and everything
Yeah.
like that with golden arm. They'll just be passing it like pretty much across the whole sphere pool, and
Well,
it's
and so that's
barely
the
going
thing.
down.
You can make passes like that pretty comfortably around 20 pass,
Oh yeah,
especially because you're tacking on a technique with it probably too. At least I always try to.
yeah.
That's not a hard thing. So yeah, you're fine because they'll use golden arm, they'll pass, and it'll be down to like 48. It's like, yeah, I gotta make sure you get that pass across, man. Really had to get that. I guess I looked at it kind of like, okay, well, it benefits either shoots or shots and passes. So for passes, I wouldn't really use it for that. Worried about passes, shots, maybe that's a more useful way of using it in my opinion because you don't have to push in as far. You can make shots further out. You don't have to worry about engaging over or, getting closer and closer. That drains slower, so you're able to be about, 50% further out now, essentially, to get that same one. So maybe use it that way. I mean, it's nice when you get Titus and use a sphere shot and you're like at half court and it still goes in because sphere shot's just nuts.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. I mean, it's pretty useful for, let's say, if you're playing the Albed Sykes and you can't really push in that far, like you said, so you've got to do a sphere shot from, kind of far away or something. I mean, it can be very useful. I do
Yeah,
like Golden Arm, but what tends to happen is that I just don't have enough, like, you want a couple of shoot abilities,
sure.
you want
Slots are a
a
commodity,
tackle
man. They
ability.
are just,
Uh-huh.
oh,
Yeah, and typically what I usually like to do, I like tackle slip and stuff like that
dude,
too.
love tackle
So
slip. Yep,
it's so good. I
yep.
mean, so it becomes a difficult decision where there are a lot of really good abilities, and in certain situations it can be really useful.
All right, well, man, I don't know. I just wanted to talk about a couple of really good players, and so the two I chose for today, well, we'll get to the first one here. So Larbait, right? Killick Beast. He's the one that says what toxin got to you, yeah?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I threw that in there because at the very beginning he's got the toxin thing and he can't remember who he is or anything like that or
Yeah.
something. He's in one of the
He's
huts,
very
and so
mean.
yeah, exactly. You
It's like,
remember
no,
that
man, I'm
guy.
one of you. I'm affected by Sin's toxin too, guy. Come on.
Yeah.
We're
He's
brothers.
like he's like basically like, "Go away, man. I ain't no show here, okay?"
Yeah.
But this guy pretty darn good, right? I mean, starting out,
Yes.
I guess average, but
Yeah, he's about pretty on the lower end, I guess, a par starting out. He's a Killick beast. So except for maybe Kulukin, they're all pretty slow growing, but they do end up being some of the best players, right? So we got to keep that in mind. All right, so starting out, yep, 10 endurance, 9 shoot. Again, Titus I use as a baseline, it's 10-10. So pretty much there. All right, level 15 though. Things are going kind of slow, right? Let's compare it to some other
yeah.
players, right? 17 endurance. Shami's at 22. That's pretty great. Titus, he has 21 shoot. Larbait, he's only at 15. I mean, dude,
Yeah,
15.
exactly. One interesting thing is his attack though is actually not too bad, right? It's grown to 8 at this point, so
Yeah, I mean
that one's
it's
actually not.
growing, but let's also, for instance, I mean, I'm trying not to compare him about too many, but there's good comparisons right out there. Shami's is 15 at 15. No, I mean it's still great though. It's growing, and you kind of look at it, it's like, okay, well this is good. This is a good trend. It's been growing. It's going. Slow growth continues through level 25. I mean, again, this is kind of just through up to almost 50. Things are getting, I mean, 41 endurance is what he has at 50. That's still on the lower end. His 26 attack, though, as I said, it's been just kind of steadily growing at a good pace. He's actually almost caught Shami at this point. Shami's about done, anyways. But his 40 shoot, dude, I mean, this is a little 50. Then, I
Mhm.
don't know, something magical happens, dude. What's going on here?
I mean, yeah, I had to look at actually how it goes by level, and literally, for the first, starts off at 9, you get one shoot from 3 to 5, and then you get
Okay.
two from 5 to 10.
So it's
But
real. I mean,
basically,
slow
anyways,
growth. This is a forward, right? I mean,
yeah,
this is
it's
slow.
yeah, and that's the funny thing. After level 10, it's 3 every 5 levels consistently until level 30. You'll be sitting at 24. Then at that point, it goes like parabolic. And then you get 8 every 10 levels from there. I mean, and pretty much 10, and then
Yeah, well,
from
50
level 7
plus,
beyond,
it's at
12.
least 10. Yeah, going up,
Yeah.
and I mean
So
that's nuts. So 96 is
Exactly.
what his shoot will cap at. So I mean, it's Killicabee's fashion. He's a real slow start, ends up being really good in the end. So 96, honestly, I don't mind that it's 96 because the best shots, they're gonna, yeah, sphere shot would get you a bit more, but that's okay. I still like always being maxed, no matter what. Endurance, also good, man. 87. That's
Yeah.
a great ending. That's really high endurance with the shot. Makes him one of the best. If you're just looking at like a pure, like, okay, I'm a forward, gonna score. You want endurance, you want shoot. That's what you two need. He has some of the best.
And imagine that with tackle slip, or
Oh
tackle
yeah,
slip
oh
2,
man,
or he's pretty
beast.
much guaranteed to miss at least one. So you've got like 3, 4 defenders on him. I mean, that's tough to take out, man. 87, you got to have at least 40 attack.
Yeah, seriously.
So
Yep. At least three people
crazy.
on you is what you'll need. And then, well, say they do get it from you, man. Is that going to necessarily, like, yeah, well, no, it's not over. Not with Larbait.
Yeah, what is his attack is crazy, right? I mean, it ends at 50.
That,
So
that's
he's got
that's
the
more
highest.
than, like, the fenders on the Aurochs. If you're looking at just forwards, he is the second highest attack stat. Now, Lina, technically, she is a forward, and she has 60 attacks, so that's even way higher. But she also has 27 endurance, so I don't even really count her usually because that's so sketch. That your forwards with
Yeah.
27 endurance, come on. So Larbait, man, he's either first or second, regardless. 50 attacks. So I'm Bada. I'm gaining up. I'm taking out Larbait. Boom, tackle. See, he's got it. Larbait just turns out. Larbait wouldn't be able to take out Bada, man. You wouldn't be able to. Now you'd be hoping on throwing over him, but like he'd be terrifying as Bada.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's interesting too. I mean, starts at 2 attack, man. It starts at like just a terrible, terrible stat for that,
Yeah,
but then boom, like right off the bat, +3 within the first 5 levels, and it just, it
just starts growing steady
increases.
the whole time.
Exactly. But pass, block, obviously his catch, really not very good. I mean,
No, real
his
poor
pass and
actually.
block, yeah, huge liabilities, so be real careful with that. It's kind of like a data where you could get yourself into trouble just because his pass is so low.
Yeah, you're out on an island. I mean, you're throwing it to him when you
Right.
know he's going to be able to score, and because if you don't have anyone near him, 22 pass, good luck. He has to score
Yeah,
is essentially what he's doing. He's a scoring machine.
and that's at level 99. I mean, level 50, he's got 12 pass and 9
Yeah, that's
block.
terrible.
So yeah, it's tough with forwards. Sometimes you forget that their pass is that low and you pass somebody too far.
Yeah,
It's happened to me. Let's talk about his HP. His HP is definitely not lackluster.
yeah. No, seriously, his health, man. Quad 9. Here we go. He's got
Yep.
9,999. He's got it.
The Holy Grail.
Yes, the holy grail. But here's the great thing. He is cheap.
Yeah, it's only 70 gil a game, so that's pretty awesome. And he starts with tackle slip. He has some really good abilities that he can learn later on down the road, like all of the level 3 shoots and
Yeah,
tackle slip 2 and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, great stuff. So honestly, Larbait, I think one of the best. Again, he's a purist. I mean, he's a very purist with it, but gosh, just great stats. All right, so one of the other players, man, centers. So we're going to talking about centers. Nav Guado, right? So we're looking at him at like a center position, basically passing support, encounter support, right? That kind of view. You can sometimes turn him into like extra defenders. You could sometimes turn him into extra forwards, but we're kind of just looking at the round view lens. There's a lot of great centers like this. Feroja's ones, Kyuri's one, Nav, there's tons of good ones. Nav,
Yep.
dude, starting at 16 pass and 14 block combo is just insane.
Nav was always one of my favorites when I had like my original PS2 save.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I had Nav on there because he was so good. But he's a bit of a project. He starts off with, a lower endurance 7. I mean, he's got the
Yeah.
pass to compensate. And on top of that, 5 attack, 4 shoot, and actually below average speed, 57, which is unusual for Guado.
That is unusual, and that's like slower. Yeah, 60 is about normal. Yeah, you're not gonna be shooting with him for the most part. In 5 attack, it's not great. Level 15, the stats kind of grow. I mean, it's not fast endurance. Woohoo! You got a whopping 1 endurance in 15 levels, so it's still kind of a liability at 8. His attacks increase to 8 as well. But dude, 28 pass. So 15 levels. They went up 12. I mean, that's insane. Block is still it's still good, but it did only grow 1, right? So I mean, it's at 15, so it's still great, but you kind of want to usually see like it's one of those where you might be leveling like, all right, come on, man, please grow. It started great. Are we even gonna increase at all?
His block is so good, though, honestly. I remember so many times where it's like a get out of jail free card.
Yeah,
So
seriously.
many situations where if he gets involved in one of those encounters or something, you're just so happy seeing that 15 block because
Yeah,
it's
makes a
really not
difference.
easy to
I
get
mean,
around.
put that with what Rop. He's got 15 block too. Those two in there, that's 30, and this is
Oh
at
man.
like very low levels here.
I mean, even yeah, exactly. Together it's over. But like even individually mixed with somebody who's not that great at defender, it just totally makes up for it. I
Yeah.
mean, it really does.
Well, even if it doesn't stop it either, it will still put a wrench in your plans, right? You're going to score with Titus and Nav's on you. It's not going to stop the ball, but you're not going to score now, essentially.
Exactly. And I mean, his endurance, it doesn't grow that much, right? I mean, so at level 25, it's still 10. His
Oof.
attack is 11, so that's not that great. But I mean, at least at this point, the pass is just going crazy. It's kind of hilarious how much his pass outpaces every other stat.
Yeah, 36. I mean, that's more than pretty much anyone. I mean, it's just one of those. It's like a Nimruk of pass here. It's just insane. Like it's a ton. 18 block is good,
Mhm.
and hey, he does gain 1 speed, so we're up to 58 by 25.
Yeah. It's just the funniest thing that they do that. It's like little fake outs, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? They give you these little like pennies here and there, like, oh, here's 1 speed, here's one
yeah.
speed. And you're thinking, oh my goodness, okay, is the speed ever gonna go up?
Well, this is some good
Does. Well,
news.
we'll get to
Yes.
that. Yeah, we will talk about his speed, but not for a little bit. Basically, once you start getting through level 50, everything grows, but it's relatively slow.
Yes.
So you've got about 22 endurance at this point. You got 22 attack. It's getting better, but it's still not anything
Yeah.
crazy. 51 pass though.
It's insane, and I mean, like I mentioned, up to this point, I can't say for sure because I haven't compared it to every single player, but I'm pretty sure it's one of the highest passes up to like level 50, if not the highest.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, he's starting to be caught. He still didn't really pass, but others have closed the gap because he was way out ahead. I mean, his pass is always insane, but it's still great. 51, it's still like one of the best, but he's finally getting caught. 31 block is still going too. I mean, so kind of in ways 22. It's not the worst. Again, he's a center, right? So, I mean, that's quite nice. In addition, you got to think about it. Usually the centers are going to be with your forwards or with your defenders. And so these additional attack and block, not too bad. Also, what about the speed, man?
Oh yeah, I mean at this point, so you're finally actually getting decent growth. You got 64 speed.
So it increased,
It's again, it's one of those things you stick with Nav and you level them up and everything like that, and you definitely will be rewarded for it.
Yeah.
And from 50 to 99 is just insane.
Yeah.
So I pick any stat really, and you're going to see a lot of growth.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, just may as well stay on speed. We went from 64 at 50. We're now at 84. And so he actually ends up being one of the fastest players. Not many more have more than that. A lot of the Guados, they're faster and then they get a little bit like they're like low 70s and might get to like mid or to late 70s. Nav is the strange one because again, yeah, he starts at 57, but then he grows to 84 and it's just like, whoa, man.
hmm I don't think there's another player aside from maybe Nidus that has 4 to 5 point speed growth per
Just
5 levels.
jumps.
It's like yeah, every single level you get a speed bonus with it. And
Not
even
bad.
his endurance actually ends up being really good compared to a lot of centers at level 99. 65 endurance,
Yeah.
especially considering his growth up to 50. I
I mean,
mean,
22 at
that's
50. That's oof.
yeah, exactly. It's like three times that. So yeah, his growth is amazing towards the end of the game. Definitely a candidate for letting him sit on the Guado Glories for a while and
Yeah.
increasing his
Yeah,
levels
let
if
him level
they
up.
can. Yeah, because he's a pain to level up early, but once he gets into the later game, man, absolutely crazy. And his attack too, right?
Center wise, I think is fantastic. It's 54, and so it's one of those. It was kind of slow as everything, and then just made some larger jumps. I like that. I think that's perfectly fine for a center. I would like it to be higher for a defender, of course, but again, just add 54 on top of whatever your defender is, or whatever your forward is. That's a lot. And one thing I would say, maybe a glaring weakness with him, just because, well, here's a little dagger twist, right, is the pass. As great as it was to level 50, that was about it, and it ends at 65. I mean, that's not very great for my center, right? I want at least 70, 80 plus would be fantastic. This is your point, is kind of pass support again, right? You're there, you're trying to get the ball, and then you're generally passing it. Oof, man, level 50, he's got 51. He only gets 14 over the last 49 levels.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it goes completely opposite from his first 50 levels, like you said, where you've got an increase of 4 points every 5 levels.
Yeah.
And then from 50 on, really more realistically from like 70 on is when it really goes down to about 2 to 3 points per every 5 levels, and then 90 to 99, 10 levels and 1 point.
That is very sad, and you're crying as you see leveling up, and it's just like, no, please, and it doesn't grow. There's another one though that's gonna dry your tears. Don't worry, you're gonna have smiles. You're gonna be happy again because it's called block, and he has 82 of it, dude. 82 block is insane.
Yeah, it's like, have you heard of this thing called block?
He's like, I got
That sounds
hands.
fun.
He's looking at his hands around level 50. He's like, is that what these are for? Dude, level 50 at 31. It goes up to 80. 51 levels. I mean, that's in the back half. That's insane.
And it's kind of the same thing that, we talk about how much it grows per 5 levels. I mean, it's insane on these ones. It's like Larbate's shoot.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's going by
Just
12.
skyrockets. Yeah.
Yeah, 80 to 90 goes 58 to 70, and then 90 to 99, 70 to 82.
So if you're willing, man, to sit on him, 82 block, you're not getting anything past it. He's going to easily, anyone else could be in there. You're going to stop it. Even if you're able to get something by it, well, probably won't succeed. And so, that's huge. Now, he's not one of those shooting centers. Some of them actually have decent. I even mentioned Grav earlier, he could have, been a pretty good scorer at some point. Nav, it ends at 33. So, that's, unless you're going against a keeper, it's probably not going to be an option for you. And 12 catch, not a goalie at all. But, dude, overall, really solid, man.
Yeah, he is really one of the best end game players.
All right, well, that's going to be it for our episode. We're so glad you're here, just spending time listening to these Blitzball. We hope that you're enjoying talking about the players, diving into some stuff. I've never thought about Blitzball this much, so it's generally been an actual fun experience.
It's always fun to nerd out on some Blitzball stats, right? We like to do that, so
yes.
Good times.
Well, you can check out our website at FinalStop.FinalFantasyTalks.com. Just has a bit more info with the blog. Blitzball cards, guys. Check that out. We got some info on formation, some other stuff. It's kind of a little nerd corner for Blitzball, essentially. We can just call it that. It's a work in progress. We're getting more stuff up as we go. But yeah, you can look at these players as we talk through the episodes. Just kind of a fun thing. And then, we have social media, Instagram. You can check out those posts. We post some Blitzball things every once in a while. And of course, we'll be back to our normal Final Fantasy X walkthrough in the next episode. All right, well, we'll catch you all next time. I'm Mark.
And I'm Alex.
And this is Final Stop for Final Fantasy Talks.